Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for checking the video out today. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover. So before we get into these topics, do me a big favor. If you do end up enjoying this video or finding it informative, be sure to leave it a like. It really does help the videos out more than you know. And if you are new here to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. The first topic talks about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The developer is talking about why this game is exclusive to the PS5 and is not currently in development for the PS4. So let's go over this information. Reading from Gaming Bolt, it says the last couple of years have seen Final Fantasy reverting back to being exclusive to PlayStation, at least where its mainline games are concerned. And though Final Fantasy VII Remake did eventually end up coming to PC, its sequel, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, is going to be exclusive to PlayStation again. However, where the majority of new releases are opting to take the cross-gen route, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will launch exclusively for the PS5. Why is that? Speaking recently to Gamer, translation via Gamatsu, when asked about the same, the game's producer Yoshinori Kitase, who also co-directed its predecessor, explained that in addition to the game's graphical fidelity, its vast open world is another reason for it skipping the PS4. In order to avoid the bottleneck the PS4's hardware would have brought about and development complications it would have posed, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is being made exclusively for PS5. Kitase also mentioned that current-gen console's SSD and the purpose it will serve. It's exclusive to PlayStation 5 because of the graphical quality, of course, as well as SSD access speed, Kitase said. Since the adventure unfolds in a vast world after the escape from Midgar, loading stress is an extreme bottleneck. We felt we need the specifications of PlayStation 5 to overcome that and travel the world comfortably. Interestingly, this isn't the first time that the size of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's world has been brought up. Last year, director Naoki Hamaguchi said that the game would allow players to explore the world map and feature gameplay that would leverage the vastness of the world. Whether that means it will be an open world game hasn't been explicitly confirmed yet, but it sounds like it could be. Either way, none of the locations from the original Final Fantasy VII are going to be cut out or shortened, so we don't have to worry about that. And for those who forgot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is currently set to launch on PS5 in winter of 2023, and I think that's a big thing we have to pay attention to here. I think at this point, pretty much everybody can agree that a game like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth should not be targeting a cross-gen release. It should be a PS5 only title, and it should attempt to take full advantage of the PS5 hardware in any way it can. And it's really good to know that this is exactly what they're planning on doing. They're making it clear that they're planning to use the PS5's SSD. In fact, they're going as far to say that they needed the console's SSD for whatever it is they're looking to achieve with this game. Now, we've seen very little of this game, so it's hard to say right now how exactly it's going to leverage it, but I have no doubt that they're going to do some pretty awesome things with the PS5, and I'm fully expecting Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to be one of the best looking games that we get this generation, because I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Remake right now, integrated on the PS5, and it looks amazing. So considering that was a native PS4 game, I'm really looking forward to seeing more of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how they attempt to take full advantage of the PS5 hardware. I think it's going to be exciting to see what they will end up achieving. So leave your thoughts about that down in the comments below. The next topic we're talking about is once again in regards to The Last of Us Part 1. We have new information to go over. This is reading from PlayStation Lifestyle once again, where they say The Last of Us Part 1 has gone gold ahead of its release on September 2nd, and Naughty Dog's principal environment artist Anthony Vaccaro has said that they managed to finish the game without resorting to the controversial practice of crunch. So Vaccaro explained that for the first time in his 13-year career, which covers games like Uncharted 4, The Last of Us, and Halo Reach, he didn't need to crunch to finish the game. Despite not crunching at the studio, the team has managed to hit the same quality bar as The Last of Us Part 2. However, Vaccaro did add that the studio does still have more work to keep doing in terms of avoiding practices like crunch, but that he is proud of the big changes so far to make the studio healthier. So I thought that this was worth pointing out because, well, first of all, The Last of Us Part 1 has gone gold. So for anybody who is looking forward to this game, it's looking like it's going to hit its release of September 2nd without suffering any delays, which is nice. But hearing specifically from a Naughty Dog developer that they managed to achieve this without any crunch, I think that there are different interpretations of crunch. The way that it's usually talked about in the games industry is the very toxic type of crunch, the kind that can be very detrimental to somebody's health, their mental well-being, their physical well-being, the type of crunch that just takes it too far. I think everybody who has been part of something big, a big project, that a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication is absolutely required, especially when you're trying to achieve something great. And I have no doubt that a lot of effort and a lot of hard work went into The Last of Us Part 1 and pretty much any project that Naughty Dog creates. But we also know that Naughty Dog has been at the center of some of these negative reports regarding toxic crunch and how it's just maybe been taken a little too far within the studio, and so they had to kind of balance it out a little bit. And it seems like that they have been working on that, and now we are hearing developers come out and let us know what their experience has been like, letting us know that they didn't have to crunch in that type of way in order to achieve this. So overall, I do think this is good news. I think it's good to hear that Naughty Dog has been able to sort this out and work on it, and they've managed to be able to kind of balance things out within their studio. I have a feeling that you're not going to see some of the major media outlets talk about this because, let's be honest here, some of these outlets, they only care to talk about the negative. They only care to talk about the bad news. They were definitely all over reporting this when we heard that it was a problem, right? But now that they seemingly found a solution, something tells me it's not going to be talked about nearly as much. I digress though. We are finishing up this topic regarding The Last of Us Part 1 by referring to Naughty Dog's Twitter, where they quote tweeted their announcement that The Last of Us Part 1 has gone gold, and they said, "We're looking forward to showing you more of the amazing visuals, tech, and gameplay the team has worked on in the next couple of months. Up to launch, stay tuned." So I do think it's reassuring to hear from Naughty Dog that they are going to be talking about the other aspects of this remake. They're not just going to be focusing on the visuals. Maybe they'll do a state of play. If they don't do that, maybe they'll start releasing some other trailers, kind of going more in depth about some of the other changes that have been made, such as the AI, the gameplay, maybe some changes to the environments, so on and so forth. So let me know your thoughts about that. Continuing on here, we are talking about a potential insider who's giving us a bit of insight, potentially some good news about what's going on with PlayStation behind the scenes. This is coming from Millie A over on Twitter. This individual has proven in the past that they do have some information regarding Sony. Occasionally, they are relatively quiet, which I think is good. But this is something that they recently tweeted out, where she says, "Foxconn PS5 manufacturing allocation for October, November, December is substantial. Select third-party developers have been asked about assets. Usually happens in preparation for state of play or showcase. When Sony wants to talk, it's usually when they have hardware available to sell." So I think that looking at this tweet, there are three separate parts here. The first, and I think the most important, is that apparently Sony has struck a really good deal with Foxconn, the manufacturer of the PS5, to ensure that they have an abundance of PS5 units available for what will be the most important time of the year, October, November, December. And you have to imagine that there is absolutely truth to this because of the recent announcement that God of War Ragnarok, the biggest game that Sony is going to launch this year, probably the biggest game they're launching since the release of the PS5, is releasing in November. Considering God of War is going to be one of the biggest system sellers of the generation, I have no doubt that Sony has worked very hard to try to make sure they have a lot of PS5s ready to sell by that point in particular. She then talks about how apparently Sony is requesting some assets from third-party devs who maybe want to be part of a state of play or a showcase. It could be either or. So, this is her maybe letting us know that we will be getting another state of play soon. I think if we do get a showcase, as I've said before, I would expect it in September, but who knows, anything's possible. And she concludes by just saying that Sony pretty much likes to talk when they're able to secure a lot of hardware. And if you think about it, it does make sense. Sony's not going to really ring the bell and get people overly excited if they don't have enough hardware to sell and they're struggling to keep up with demand. But when they have an influx of hardware, it actually makes a lot of sense that they would want to turn around and say, hey, let's sell you on this. You know, we want to move these units. So that's just a little update from Millie A over on Twitter. We'll see if we end up getting a state of play or anything like that. But at the very least, it's beginning to sound like if you're somebody who's looking to get your hands on a PS5 this holiday season, you will probably have a good chance of doing so. Next up, we're talking about Rollerdome. We have new information on this game. Reading from Gaming Bolt, it says Roll7 has released its first developer video for Rollerdome, the upcoming third-person shooter that combines sleek roller skating with stylish gunplay. Studio creative director John Ribbons and senior 3D level designer Jacob Mills talk about the overall flow of the game and its level design. Rollerdome is a skating game where you're not just skating, and a shooting game where you're not just shooting. Essentially, players skate around and shoot at various enemies, from regular humans to mechanical walkers, firing explosives, executing tricks, refills your ammo, while slaying foes, refills health. In terms of level design, it was about not having any dead ends or corners that the player could get stuck on. There's always something to go up or jump up that will bring you back to the combat. All in all, Roll7 wants to give free rein to players to see the kind of creativity and flair they can come up with. Rollerdome is out on August 16th for PS4, PS5, and PC, and it will retail for $20 on Steam and for PlayStation Plus members at launch, presumably for a limited time. Everyone else on PS4 and PS5 can pick it up for $30. There will also be a game trial for PlayStation Plus premium members to play at release. So there you go. There's your latest update on Rollerdome. This is a game that I believe was shown off during the June State of Play, and a lot of people really liked what they saw here. And I have to admit, this game definitely caught my attention. And it's not releasing into PS Plus Extra and Premium, but they will offer free trial. So let me know if this is a game you plan to pick up or try out through PS Plus. Moving on, we have a new SSD that was announced for the PS5. It is an officially licensed SSD, and it says Sony and Western Digital have announced a partnership to officially license the WD Black SN850 NVMe PS5 SSD. This announcement comes nearly a year after PS5 architect Mark Cerny praised the drive and said that it was his choice of storage expansion. In a press release, Western Digital said that it has fully tested the SSD and optimized it for the PS5. The 1TB variant costs $170 at retail, and the 2TB variant costs $280. Both are now available to purchase, and it comes in official PS5 themed packaging. So I wanted to be sure to let you guys know about this, because while there have been many SSDs that have popped up that you can buy for your PS5 and they work great in your PS5, this seems to be the first officially licensed SSD from PlayStation. And considering it's the SSD that Mark Cerny, the architect of the console, it's the one that he recommended, it's the one that he uses, it makes sense that this would be the first one. So let me know if you already have this SSD in your PS5, what the experience has been like, and if not, if you're planning on picking it up. We're going to close out this video talking about an interesting report regarding Red Dead Redemption 2. It's also, I think, a very disheartening report. Apparently, a PS5 version of Red Dead Redemption 2 has been dropped. Reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, it says, following reports from multiple reliable sources that Rockstar Games has canned Red Dead Redemption 1 and GTA 4 remasters, another report has emerged claiming that the developer also canceled plans for Red Dead Redemption 2 PS5 and Xbox Series ports. This update comes from the same insider, Teased, who originally revealed that Rockstar dropped the aforementioned remasters after the GTA trilogy released to poor critical reception. Now, I wanted to mention this because I think this is a bit of a follow-up to the other report we got. I mean, it's one thing if they're dropping remasters for Red Dead Redemption 1 and GTA 4, but the idea that they were going to bring Red Dead Redemption 2 over to the PS5 and the Xbox Series consoles, and they now just decided, you know what, we're not going to do it. We don't have the resources. It's pretty clear that anything else Rockstar may have been working on or may have been thinking about pursuing, they dropped it in favor of just putting all hands on deck for GTA 6. I think it's kind of crazy. I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the best looking games ever made, and it would have been awesome, I think, to see what they could have done with a PS5 version and an Xbox Series version. But if this report is to be believed, which it sounds like it is, it's not going to happen. So yeah, it seems like Rockstar, they're just kind of giving up on everything else and just pursuing GTA and GTA only. So there's your update on that. That's going to do it for this video though, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. Again, if you did, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.